So we had our first preseason game out of the way, and well, they looked worse than the last year's preseason game, so maybe that's a good sign. What did you think about that first preseason game?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny, right? Because last year we were like running through walls on how good they looked, and I mean, there were social media guys and few were saying, "Oh, Kenny Pickett might get league MVP votes this year." And well, it didn't work out that way unless nobody watched. So I guess this way, Joe, do we say, well, they look kind of bad, so maybe that means we'll be good. Look, this it's kind of what I expected. In all honesty, a lot of people were like, I think already, upsetting the apple cart. Um, this is a whole new offense. I mean, they were rotating offensive linemen like you and I change hats or shirts, during the week, and um, the Texans already had one game under their belt, and a lot of people were picking the Texans to be a pretty good team this year. So I mean, no excuses. They didn't look great. I mean, the thing that stuck out the most was, which is something you've been saying all week or all month, really going into camp, was it's a quarterback, whatever battle, how these guys going to look. And when you look at Fields' pass coming in here, which is a little checkered because of the turnovers, he plays 17 snaps, two turnovers, two sacks. In Chicago, he led the NFL twice in amount of time he held on to the ball. He was the worst at holding on to the ball too long. So those are things you hope that they say, well, they'll fix it. It's something they can look at. It's something they can address. It's just a cadence. Or do you look at it and say, oh boy? I don't know. It definitely was an underimpressive performance from Fields in the first team offense.
Yeah, I mean, considering um, you know, new offensive coordinator, new quarterbacks, all this new stuff, but yeah, also Houston already got their first game out of the way last week, the week before that, so they were playing their ones a lot more, and yeah, I mean the Steelers, it was just it looked ugly at times because we saw those botched snaps, which I guess it was Fields' fault. I don't know. That didn't look good. That punt return from Quez Watkins. Uh, buddy,
Oh,
you better
yeah.
rent not buy in the Pittsburgh area because you ain't gonna
Yeah,
be here
you
long.
said something on Twitter I liked. It was pretty good. Yeah, I don't know, but something to the effect of like, welcome to Barnes and Noble. How can I help you or whatever? You
Yeah, it was.
um, uh, yeah, it didn't look great on that end. The defense was okay. Herbig, I didn't think looked great at center either. To be honest with you, I wasn't really impressed. And with a hard charging Frazier coming from behind, who knows what we might see this week? And I remember it's funny how those older coaches, like you can go down the line from Chuck Noll to Chuck Knox to John Robinson or Marty Schottenheimer. They always used to say the second game was the most important game in preseason because it showed them how far they came. So who knows? Maybe that second preseason game might show it. And of course, we live in the 2020s now, so who knows how much these guys will actually play. But yeah, but they did run the ball effectively. They did pretty good there. Calvin Austin III continued to look pretty good. He's looked very good in Latrobe the last 2 weeks. Who knows? Maybe he'll finally come out of this and be the guy that they drafted a few years ago and expect him to do what he does. The other guy I was impressed with is Connor Heyward. And here's the thing that's tough about that. I think he's starting to get a lot of fandom behind him, right? He's Cam's little brother. He practices with Cam in the offseason, all these things. I've met him. He's a tremendous guy. Um, he's becoming a fan favorite, a guy who wants to see do well. The strong rumor is, and we haven't talked about it, he is part of the 49ers Steelers trade if Ayuk would go.
What? Oh
That's the
no,
strong rumor. Like, um, the name's escaping me. The 49ers GM, he played for the Cardinals. But
Lynch.
yeah, thank you, John Lynch. He's smitten with Connor Heyward. He feels like he's like a kind of a a couple multi-tool player back there, fullback, tight end, wide receiver, whatever. Um, but if you want Brandon Aiyuk, this is the type of thing you got to give to him. So if they're really smitten with him, I mean, I don't know, because I think he's starting to look pretty good, and who knows? But he looked pretty good, on Friday night against the Texans.
That's it. Deal's off. You can't have Heyward. It's okay. You keep Ayuk. You keep we already have Ayuk at home. It's Mike Tomlin. It's
Older version.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I, one thing that was a positive from the game was it's nice when you have an actual NFL offensive coordinator that designs actual NFL plays. Like that one where Kyle Allen had Austin all alone in the end zone and he just overthrew him. That's encouraging. That I
Right.
don't think I've ever seen a wide open wide receiver in like the past 4 years. So
Right.
that was
Right.
nice.
And that's the thing. I mean, it's so hard. It's kind of like last year, right? We said the same thing. Like they looked really good. Are we too excited though? But they looked really really good because they blew the doors off of Buffalo. And then when it came right down to it in the playoffs, Buffalo spanked us pretty good. So, you know, um, that's the thing. It's so hard to tell from these things, and I think it should kind of get back to camp and shoulders and pads. But the Steelers have been hitting pretty good in practice. They've been tackling well, and I think some of that showed up. Nick Herbig looked really strong Friday night. You can tell he's been working with T.J. Watt a lot. He's getting that Watt kind of first step speed. There was a couple times that he had the Texans first team offense stymied with his speed off the side. He looked really good. Kind of things I think we were hoping to see, and we might see a little bit more of Nick Herbig this year. So there was definitely some things that were good. What do you think about the kickoffs? Because that has been, I don't know, the new kickoff format is anytime anything's new, people tend to in sports, people tend to bemoan it, but boy, I don't know. It was a little bit of a cluster.
Eh, I think this whole kickoff thing, I think every team is holding their cards close to the vest. I think they're just doing the most vanilla, um, boring, um, kickoff thing. Just and then when the regular season comes, they'll go crazy with whatever they're going to do. But now everybody is keeping it close to the vest. Everybody is hiding what they're really going to do. It just looks dumb and weird. Um, if the ball's not in the landing zone, then oh my goodness, it's a penalty. Like,
I know,
what are we doing here,
I
people? Like,
know, and
it just,
mm,
it's like when you go to someone's house and say, I have this great board game or this great card game. Now here are the rules, and they spend 30 minutes talking about every complex rule. It's like, I don't know. I just want to drink. I don't know. What is going on here? Like it just
and
looks so complicated.
and NFL officials have not been great at interpretation over the years. So, but I think it was the Chiefs, and I'm not sure who else, but there were like two safeties given up by accident. Like legitimate, like I didn't mean to do that. So I mean, it's like,
Right.
I mean, we'll see. I guess I think the jury is definitely still out, but when you're used to something we've watched for all of our lives, even though it's a minuscule part of the game, it just seemed strange to me. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of awkward and weird, and it seemed like the teams were not sure really how to run it either. I can see a lot of flags flying the first couple of weeks because of whatever.
It yeah. Yeah, it could be. I could see a lot of flags. I could see a lot of problems. I could see a lot of touchdowns too, because people don't know. And then eventually people will figure it out. And
Right.
it'll be normal. But at first I think it's just gonna
Somebody
break
will run like
everything.
three touchdowns back in a game, and then
Right.
in the coming years that won't happen for like another 12 years or so.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. the Steelers will be winning 28-17 with 2 minutes left, and they lose 31-28 because of kickoffs or some
Oh
stupid
yeah,
thing
it'd be
like
like
that.
the
Who
Eric
knows?
Metcalf debacle years ago. I
Oh my
remember
God, yeah.
that was
Yeah,
bad.
Eric Metcalf just, just destroyed the Steelers that one game.
Oh, it was bad. But yeah, so I mean, I think that's what you can kind of take out of it, as much as you can take out of a preseason game. But the thing that I think I mentioned to you before in the underlying whispering, going out of training camp has been like the players saying we actually feel like we have direction, like we have an offensive, you know, game manager here. This guy, is responding, he adjusts, he does things, and that's where I think again it's just a matter of they only started camp, Joe. What 3 weeks ago?
It's only been 3 weeks, yeah.
So it's a lot to expect the team to come out and I don't know. Maybe we were spoiled last year, but I didn't think they were going to come out and blow the Texans' doors off 40-0. So you'll see. The next game might be a little bit more intriguing to see where they're at and what they're doing, and maybe start getting a little bit of identity because right now it's kind of hard to even give them an identity.
The weird thing is teams, and then this is also because of the Hall of Fame game where some teams play 4 games and some teams play 3 games, but it used to be a set thing where, okay, first preseason game, we don't play any starters. Second preseason game, we play starters for a little bit, but mostly the backups. Third preseason game, we play our starters for at least a half, and then the fourth preseason game is no starters at all. And it used to be like a set thing that every team did, and now it's like everybody just does their own thing. So sometimes they play the starters, sometimes they don't play them at all. Sometimes I don't know. It's just a hodgepodge of what teams decide to do.
Yeah, it really is, and so it's like, but I think the one thing that probably shouldn't have happened or couldn't have happened was Fields to have a bad game to stoke the fires, if you will, of his doubters, because those who are doubting him, especially, it seems like the idiots in Kenny Pickett Nation who want the Steelers to fail now all this season because they're prized guys battling for second place in Philadelphia, and they're coming to the grips with the fact he's a first round bust. Uh, want the Steelers to do better, took grace in that, but neither here or there, he didn't look good, and that's just something that you just hope. Okay, first game jitters, maybe. Now, Joe, if he comes out and does that in the next couple games, then I think we're having a different conversation here in this show, right? Like, okay, where you got the same Fields that's been dropping the ball and throwing interceptions like it's his job the last couple years in Chicago.
Right. Right. Yeah, then we have a problem.
Yeah, yeah,
So we'll see. We'll
yeah.
see.
Yeah, so I don't know, and then I mean, it could even happen. we get so excited about this. It could even happen during this podcast. Maybe the Aiyuk deal gets done, and then you're talking a whole different thing. But if the Aiyuk deal gets done, I'd have to see who goes to San Francisco from Pittsburgh. What kind of impact does that make on our roster? But I think they definitely need him, Joe, because the thing that I kind of see too is our receivers were okay. They keep, Tomlin keeps talking about Van Jefferson's done this and he's looked okay in camp, but nobody's looking like, oh my God, Van Jefferson. And I guarantee I don't think any defense are going, oh my God, what we can do about Van Jefferson.
right.
Um, so if he comes over, I mean, I think it's going to be needed because right now, that's the other thing. We sit here, how many months later, Joe, after we talked about it when they traded Deontay Johnson, they never had a plan B, or if they did have a plan B or Ayuk's plan B or whatever the heck it is, it's not in place yet. And if we lose Pickens for any length of time due to an injury or whatever,
We're done.
we're
Yeah.
we're in big trouble.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah. I think that's the consensus from everyone coming out of this camp is, who's going to be the wide receiver two? What's going on with the wide receivers? How are they going to look? And the consensus is this ain't it. We don't got it. We got Pickens. Pickens has looked good, but everyone else. I mean, Van Jefferson, bless his little heart. He's trying. He's out there.
Right.
Calvin Austin, good good effort, buddy. Good job. Good job. Good. A for effort. But we don't have a wide receiver too now.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually have breaking news on the Brandon Aiyuk front.
All right, what do we
Uh,
got?
what we got? Okay, so this is 7 minutes ago from Mike Garafolo or Garofalo, I don't know. He says the 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk aren't that far apart on a deal, which is why they haven't pulled the trigger on a trade to the Steelers, and Aiyuk is still hoping they could clear one more final hurdle in the negotiations. Hmm,
Hmm. Yeah, and it's
buddy.
so weird how this is stacked up because like the 49ers can make some demands, but Ayuk's got final say. So, and I still find it's funny he didn't want to go to Cleveland. He really didn't want to go to New England. And by the way, New England just waived Juju Smith Schuster. Um, and I gotta say, I hope the Steelers don't sign him. I just if they
You don't
do,
want them to get him.
no. I mean, Joe, he's injured too, right? Injury is part of the reason he got cut. His knee's banged up.
Oh, Juju. Oh yeah. We don't
Yeah,
want Juju. Forget
no,
no, no, no, no,
so
no.
it's like I mean, I, yeah, and I can't even think of why. I mean, it would be out of total desperation. So yeah, he didn't want to go to New England. I still don't think he wanted to learn under a different quarterback, maybe a new quarterback. I don't know. Just didn't want to be there because believe it or not, and you never thought we would say this 5 years ago, the Patriots are a major mess. Um, I kind of thought it was going for the Browns, right, Joe? Because at first it seemed like the 49ers want a receiver in return. They want a receiver. Well, we sure as hell don't have a receiver to give you. And the Browns had maybe a Amari Cooper. So there was like a couple days where I'm like, yeah, he's going to Cleveland.
Yeah.
But he apparently didn't want to go to Cleveland. I don't know. I'm sure that'll all come out here within the next few days. But yeah, so here he comes, hopefully, and just a matter of what we're going to give up for him. But this is a guy that led the NFL in yards per play, right? I mean, so he's a machine. And the 49ers are losing a lot in giving him up. That's a major weapon for them. That'd be a major weapon for the Cardinals, let alone the 49ers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just at that point, I think, who's he going to work best with? Does he want to work with Watson, whatever? I don't know. So we'll see.
I mean, it's weird. Whatever deal he signs, assuming it's probably going to be like at least a 3, 4, 5 year deal. How do you say I want to be in Pittsburgh when we don't even know who the quarterback is going to be next year? I mean, I
It's
know we
scary.
all love Mike Tomlin. He wants to go. I mean, if you said Mike Tomlin was Brandon Ayuk's dad, no, but you look at the picture of them side by side. It's like, yeah, that's his kid.
That's his kid.
um,
Yeah. No,
but
you would. And I just think that's what you're going to see with if he comes aboard, then I think they need to start hammering out some quarterback plans. Maybe see a contract. Who knows? But I've never seen, and I still think we're like in uncharted territory right now. The Steelers. Omar Khan is absolutely making all these moves. We're into Brandon Ayuk talks, on August, what is it,
yeah,
13th? I mean, what the hell's going on?
yeah, this is
I mean,
crazy.
and it's just it's kind of funky. So who knows what could happen? The only thing that I heard somebody say today, and they are right because I saw this happen at least twice at camp. If you got IU covered well or Pickens covered well, and you do have Fields in there, which I think no matter what, Joe, this year, Justin Fields is going to be playing under center at some point. There's
Yeah,
no way I don't think Watson's going to be playing every single game, every single snap. That being said, there was a couple times where he rolled out, and the defense had to cover. Our defense had, the receivers covered pretty well, and he took off, and there wasn't anybody on that field. Hell, there wasn't anybody with a motorcycle on silence that was going to catch him. I mean, it was
yeah.
like it was Cordell Stewart on steroids. If
Oh
you want
yeah.
to go back
Oh
to that, I
yeah.
mean, he was gone, and there was a whoos, and I mean, it was like watching a deer run.
You
Um,
know,
it's
they
impressive,
don't do it in training camp because why would you have Justin Fields just run everywhere? I mean, half the
right?
time they're not even in pads. They're just basically playing almost flag football out there. But Justin Fields' running ability is disgusting. I still think he's better than Lamar Jackson. I think he's one of the best running quarterbacks ever. And
Right.
yeah, yeah, you always have to think about that, and you just have him run, and just have him be a little bit better of a passer, um and not turn it over so much. You could have something really special there.
Yeah, and I think that's what we come back to, like how we started the show off, is that had he had a good game, whether it's like 5 for 6 or 5 for 8 and a touchdown on Friday, I think everyone okay, that's encouraging. But the game he did have, I think there's a little reason to be concerned. Like I said, let's see in game 2 or 3 how he performs. But right now, I think the jury's still out on Fields for a lot of fans, and rightfully so.
And the way that Russell Wilson and Fields are still used in camp, I'm not sure what the heck's going on now. Either Russell Wilson actually is hurt, or they want to give Fields a really long look or whatever. But at some point, it's like, hey guys, here's a crazy idea. Let's get ready for the season. Because even in this next preseason game, they're like, well, Russell Wilson's starting at going to be starting the game, and they're not even sure about that. Like, I'm not sure what's going on here.
Yeah, you know what? That's a really good point, all of it, because it reminds me of the Bengals last year. Like they're like, "Oh, Joe Burrows is only slightly. Don't worry, he'll be in. And it really ended up being not only an issue in camp, but the whole season long. Right? He was not healthy. So you do have a little bit of mild concern. And I said Watson earlier, so sorry about that. But so you fact checkers out there, you can nail me later. But yeah, no, Russell Wilson. I don't know, Joe. I mean, I guess that's where you say, okay, he's 35. We realize he doesn't miss a lot of games. We want to keep it that way. Whatever. I don't know, but maybe you're right. At 35, a hamstring can be a little bit more of a nagging injury than it can at 25. So I don't know, but I think I'm not ready to, throw the towel up and say, oh my God, the sky's falling. But I would say on a scale of 1 to 5, about a 1 or 2, I'm a little concerned. So we'll see on
Yeah,
a quarterback. On a quarterback.
yeah. And then the offensive line, kind of weird. Troy Fautanu played, but then got hurt. And when he did play, it was up and down. He gave up sacks. He also did some good things. But then we hear this week, oh, he's definitely the right tackle.
It's so
What?
it's so weird. I mean, it's like well, Broderick Jones is playing the first team snaps, but he may back up Dan Moore. And Fontenot's not playing the first team he's playing, but he's definitely starting. It's like Bizarro world, goodbye, hello. It's Bizarro Tomlin. I don't know, and I think too. Part of me wonders if all of this, offensive line roulette is due to who's involved in this trade talk. Is it Dan Moore? I mean, who could be
Is it
going where?
Daniels?
Right. Is it Daniels? I mean, so that could be all part of this too. I just simply don't know. And I think once that finally gets figured out or is done or not done, that may shed some clarity. But you're right. He didn't look great. Broderick Jones looked pretty good on a couple of the run plays. I mean, he sprung, Jalen Warren twice, and I mean, he is definitely fast becoming, if not already, the best run blocker on the team. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes, Joe. But yeah, now he's out 2 weeks, but he's going to be the starter, and it's like, yeah, it kind of goes along with Russell Wilson. Oh, he's not played. Don't worry, he's going to be the starter. Okay.
What?
Right. But then again, I mean, they're already talking. Like, there's a rumor that, what they want to do is go down to, 2 preseason games or whatever it is, and add another game next year or the year after that to the schedule. So it's like maybe Tomlin and the coaching staff, and not just Tomlin, but the other NFL coaches are trying to get ready for that. And we're not going to see like we used to see in our glory days of almost a solid month of preseason games where we get to see these guys, multiple times over 4 or 5 weeks. You might just not see it at all.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be weird. You know it's happening. You know it's going to go to 18 games. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if it went to 20 games at some point.
Oh,
Hey, why
yeah,
not?
yeah, no, without question, and that's the thing. So, I mean, I don't know. I think you and I are old school guys, and we would like to sit there and see a couple weeks of But we also, like any fan, we don't want to see anybody hurt or lost this season.
Right.
So I don't know. I know Friday it was okay. I still I give especially in the offense, big sway there, right? I totally understand new OC, new offense, getting to learn it first time. You're going against a team that already has a game under its belt. Okay. Um, and all that stuff is probably normal, but the Fields turnovers and 2 sacks, like I said, scale 1 to 5, I'm about a 2. We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. And on the defense, Payton Wilson played a lot.
Yes.
And I mean, from the minute that guy was drafted, everybody says, wow, the Steelers got to steal. Wow, he's going to be special. And he has been looking really good in camp and in that past game.
He does, and he's one of those guys that like just stands out too. He's a big dude. Even like so NFL guys take the field, you're like, oh my God, they're big. And there's always that one or two guys. It's like I remember like Eric Green, you'd be like, okay, there's Eric Green. And he's going to be that guy like, oh yeah, there's Willis right there. Right there's Peyton. He's a big dude. He played on the special teams a little bit too. So he's looked really good. Defense might be now one scale on defense. Am I worried? Not very much. I think defense we might be okay. I know that the backups, let a touchdown go here and there, but yeah, I think all of us are wondering, Joe, what's the identity of our offense? Because I think Patrick Queen, great ad, like you said, Willis, Nick Herbig, got Highsmith, and we're all pretty confident. Mika, Joey Porter Jr. Defense, yeah, the nickel is a question, but I think for most of all, we're all pretty good on defense. It's this offense is the concern. So, but you're right, defense, not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Patrick Queen has been very quiet this training camp and preseason, and that's fine. We don't need, he doesn't need to be out there. We already know what he could do, and I'm really excited to see what this defense is going to look like because man, in theory, on paper, it might do some damage.
Yeah, really good. I mean, they could be again one of the contenders for leading in sacks, pressures, a lot of things. It's a lot of speed. We've kind of made that correlation to the Penguins back in 16, 17. I think what really got them to the cup those years was their youth and their speed on multiple lines, right? And that's something we haven't had in for the Penguins in a few years now. And it showed, right? And I think that's the thing with the defense. It's a Watts obviously and Heyward kind of kicked the age bracket up a little bit, but they've looked pretty good. And how about Leal? I mean, he was a guy I was really excited for coming out of Texas A&M. Thought he was going to be great, and he just kind of fell flat. A lot of people thought he might get cut this camp, and they've switched him, and he's looked really good. At outside linebacker, I think they've had him at the last game they did. So, who knows? He might be a guy that comes out of nowhere.
He has been he has been a big surprise. I mean, last year he was a healthy scratch at some points, and yeah,
Yeah.
probably a candidate to get cut. And he has just looked awesome this training camp. And yeah, he might be because what's his face? That dude just retired. Dude
No,
just
I know. Sign him one day and he's done. Yeah.
grand opening, grand closing. So he
Yeah.
might be a outside linebacker. That's cool.
Yeah. Somebody said Operation Shutdown and Closeout. So
That's
Derek
Derek
Bell.
Bell, I think.
So no, yeah, so I think, and again, that's a whole tough thing about sitting here and analyzing a preseason game. Nobody across all 32 teams is going to show you all their cards. And we get into Atlanta in week 1, that's probably no matter what the thing we're going to see, you know, um, the true impact of what they've done so far and who they're playing. And the only thing there would be, I mean, if Justin Fields is our starter that week, then we know that uh, blocking sleds are no-nos for quarterbacks.
Yeah, really.
Do you
Um,
hear me?
if
No blocking sleds next year, guys,
oh my
or
God.
quarterbacks.
Oh my God, if their
Oh.
season is derailed because some dude thought it would be a good idea for quarterbacks to hit a blocking sled. Oh my goodness.
And I still go
That
back to, and I think you and I said at the same time, like Jinx, who wasn't there somebody watching saying, "Oh, whoa, 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 not that guy." No,
Yeah,
no, no.
not
Yeah, not
not
him.
our starting quarterback.
Right. Yeah, put him over there. Let's get some Chick-fil-A. Let's get him some McDonald's. Get him a Permanis. He's okay. Uh,
Maybe he was really confused about the kickoff rules and
right.
thought
Yeah.
that he would have to block or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. Right. Yeah. In third quarters, the quarterback has to block for the guy. And
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, the new punter didn't look bad. Of course, you couldn't look much worse than what we had last year. So, I mean, I'm not saying that he's going to the Pro Bowl or anything, but
Well, the new punter looks good, but they have no gunners.
no.
So that's a problem. So you fixed one part of the punting issue, and then you create, and then the other part is bad. So yeah, they got to figure out who the gunners are going to be because the gunners last year, both of them are gone. So they got to figure out who the heck that's going to be, and that's you could have the best punter in the world, but if you can't cover anybody, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. So, I mean, I don't know. You sit there. I've been watching the Hard Knocks thing, right? And I didn't know. I guess they're doing the Bears and the Giants. I maybe because I tuned it out the last couple of years. I always thought it was just one team.
No. I think the Giants were the off season. I think they just
Okay.
started a Hard Knocks off season
Oh,
thing for the
okay.
Giants, which was fascinating, by the way. That
It
is so
was.
cool. Yeah. Now just in the training camp, it's Bears, I think.
Right. Well, the reason I was going with that is the Steelers have been very interesting for the last couple of weeks. It would have been a great Hard Knocks, had they done it. I mean, the fights, the position battles. I mean, it would have made for very good TV. It's a shame that they didn't do it, but during the season, it will be Hard Knocks AFC North. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know that they desperately want the Steelers so
Oh,
bad.
it's been like since they created the series. Like,
Yeah.
like either they were like, we want to be the Steelers, like first right off the bat. And I don't know if that's Rooney or Mike Tomlin or whoever is saying, no. I'm
Get
assuming
the
Mike.
cameras away, which is
Yeah.
really dumb because the team has a final say on what gets shown anyway. So it's
Yeah.
not like you're showing anything revealing anyway.
Right. I've never kind of figured that out. I guess say, well, it's a distraction. Well, I don't know if you noticed, we haven't won a playoff game since 2017. So
Yeah.
who the hell cares at this point? Just do the Hard Knocks and be over with. But yeah, it's been very, very entertaining. I haven't been in Latrobe since a few days before last Friday, and again, it was funny. Connor Heyward got a lot of looks. He got worked in quite a bit, and so I wasn't surprised on Friday to see him score a touchdown. And again, um, and maybe it's this Arthur Smith offense, Joe. I'm not sure. You almost kind of like you want to go back and I don't know why you'd want to do this and watch Atlanta Falcons tapes from last year or something. But I mean, the rotations for the offensive line in particular and the tight ends, Muth, Heyward. It reminded a lot of people were like, oh my god, it's like the Penguins. It's like line changes. In hockey. I mean, it's like okay, this team's on it, and you're sitting there and it's like. Wait, he's a left tackle. Okay, now he's a right tackle. Now he's a guard. Now it's like,
Yeah.
wait, it's a Herbig at center. Is it Frazier? It's been interesting, but Connor Heyward last week in particular on that would have been Wednesday and Tuesday. He was in there quite a bit, So again, it's all part of the mystery, Joe. Is that because they wanted to showcase him a little bit and tempt the 49ers? Is it because they legitimately plan on using him? Whatever. But I can tell you, every time he had the ball, there was a lot of cheers.
Yeah.
I think the Steeler Nation is already kind of gravitating towards this kid, and
It would
rightfully
not
so.
surprise me if there were big plans for Connor Hayward because the thing about that Arthur Smith likes to do is hide what like make the positions confusing. Like he wants his running backs to be wide receivers. He wants his wide receivers to be running backs. He wants his tight ends to be receivers, maybe running backs too, whatever. He wants complete. He doesn't want he's the anti Matt Canada. Matt Canada basically said, "Here's our play. Good luck. Here
Yep.
here everybody. Here's what we're doing." And
Right.
Arthur Smith wants to completely hide it on any given play. That's why he loves Cordero Patterson. Cordero Patterson is number 84. It's a wide receiver number, but he's a running back. You don't know where he's going to line up. And Connor Heyward is perfect for that. He could be a tight end. He could be a running back. He could be a wide receiver. He could be whatever. So
Well,
I think
yeah,
he'll have big plans.
he's come in almost like a quasi fullback a few times too when Jalen Warren's been in the game. So
Hmm.
or practice, I should say. So yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, it makes you wonder if they haven't pulled a trade yet, and Connor Hayward's a point of contention. Maybe you're right, Joe. Maybe that. Well, do we really want to give up this guy? Because if I'm Arthur Smith, no, 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 no. I mean, we can use this guy. We have all these plans for him, but if the 49ers want him and we get Aiyuk,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Then we might be seeing the Steelers target a tight end in the first round next year if they really want a tight end that bad. Because if Muth doesn't have a great year, and Muth is on his last year too, right? As his contract. So
Muth is in the last year of his contract. I
yep,
was expecting them to extend him this year. So this at the end of this training camp. So we'll see. I mean, in theory, Muth should have a huge year. So we'll see.
right. He'll probably be taken way too early in a lot of fantasy drafts, especially around here.
Oh, definitely,
If he's not already a keeper in half the leagues around here.
definitely.
So
All right, we will see. Oh
that's
boy.
right. I'll be ready for that emergency. We pulled up the Ayuk trade donut bag
You
podcast
know it's
emergency.
coming. You know it's coming at any moment. So yeah,
Yeah,
be ready. Get your beeper ready or something like that, or your pager.
yeah, yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
paging.
The donut bag signal will come up top of the
Right.
UPMC tower, and right, it'll be up there, and yeah, no, I mean, it's supposed to be up in the mountains, but I should have a signal. But yeah, if anything comes, yeah. Last thing
So,
too, one of our listeners, a good friend of mine, a lifelong friend, we went to high school together, played football together, we worked at the mill together. He was in my fantasy league. I passed away this past week at 45, so my hearts go out
oh my
to Bill.
God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, he was,
Oh my goodness, that's 45 is way too soon. My goodness.
but he's I would post our thing to Facebook or whatever, and he would always give it the thumbs up, and he would listen. He listened to the radio show, which starts in 2 weeks. Joe, the Whip Yule on Friday Night Football starts back up, and but Dino, God bless you, man. I'm gonna miss you, and we got your funeral coming up here on Thursday, but you'll be missed. Thanks for listening to this show. Thanks for being a lifelong Steeler fan, man.
Rest in peace.
Rest in
Condolences
peace,
to the
man.
family. That's so sad. Way gone way
Thanks,
too
Joe.
soon. My goodness.
Thank
That's
you.
so sad. All
Yeah.
right. All right, man. Hey, I'll talk to you possibly next week, maybe sooner.
Yes,
We'll
and
see.
sooner. Thanks,
All
Joe.
right, we'll see.
Take care.